The PlayStation Store is currently running its spring sale, and yes, this sale is massive with a ton of deals, and more deals are going to be added in less than 2 weeks, I think April the 14th, don't quote me on that. In this video, I want to take a look at 15 of the best deals that are available. We're not limiting ourselves to any price threshold. We will be doing a video looking at games under the price of $10, so don't expect like a Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. That's $9.99, obviously great deal, we'll mention it in that other video. But we got 15 games as it is, and we are not even covering like Yakuza Like a Dragon, Need for Speed Heat, and a lot of other great deals that are available. So without further ado, gonna try to hit each game quickly, so let's get right into it. Starting things off, this is a deal I know a lot of you guys wanted. Ghost of Tsushima is 33% off for $40.19. Maybe a lot of you guys are not happy enough with the discount. If you wanted, 50% off or even higher than that. However, I do have to say Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely worth it for that price. If you haven't played it, you really should. If you have a PS5, the game also runs at 60 frames per second. It is amazing, but on the PS4, it's still very good, and I highly, highly recommend it. This was actually a game that I played the first 90 minutes to 2 hours of, and I was like, man, I'm not really feeling it, and then I just played more of it, and I got absolutely engrossed into the world. The combat got so much better, and you really start to understand that Jin is one of the most compelling main characters in a video game that I've ever played, honestly, and there was a little bit of a gripe that I saw online with some of the reviews of people being like, Jin's kind of bland. Well, Jin starts off bland because it's all about, the samurai code, the warrior code, honor, all that, but the game's story is about Jin becoming the Ghost of Tsushima, and I won't get into spoilers, but it's phenomenal how you actually get to the point. And it is a tremendous game, a lot of side content as well, just a great, great title, and I can't wait to see what Sucker Punch does next, but $40.19 for this is excellent. Next up, Persona 5 Royale, the Deluxe Edition, so this is going a little bit under the radar, but the Deluxe Edition is 55% off for $31.49. Great deal. P5 was already considered one of the best JRPGs of all time, some would consider it the best, and Royale improves it to a great extent, adding a ton of content and just making the game even better. This Deluxe Edition just includes some additional in-game item, has some cosmetic items and things like that. Nothing to really write home about, but the price, $31.49, I think is quite good, so check that out if you're a fan of JRPGs. You probably already know what to expect here, and even though this does lean on some of the aesthetics and presentation values that maybe those of you that are more accustomed to Western games are not going to as much appreciate as somebody that has been regularly playing JRPGs, I would still give this a shot just because this could be a great gateway JRPG. It's just at that high of a level that I think it's very hard not to enjoy the game, but that's just my opinion. I think $31.49 is a great deal for it. Next up, we have Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. This is 40% off for $23.99. I was a big fan of this game when it came out back in like 2010, and I was really excited to see that it was gonna get a remastered version, and this version's pretty good. It's not like a complete facelift on the game, but it works well enough, and the game itself is fundamentally sound that I would give it a recommendation. An open-world, action-oriented RPG. Love the combat system here. A great deal of additional content if you want to do everything. Not additional content on top of the base game that originally came out, but it does include the DLC, so that is something to note. Actually, with this game, kind of interesting, they're actually going to be releasing new content for the game later this year, I believe in September, so that's kind of a new thing that they're doing for a remaster. Nevertheless, a great open-world RPG that I would strongly recommend, especially if you're not a fan of slower-paced open-world RPGs and you want something that's really action-oriented. You're gonna get that out of KOA. Next up, The Walking Dead, the Telltale Definitive Series is 40% off for $29.99. This includes pretty much the entire Walking Dead experience, all 4 seasons, 400 days, The Walking Dead Michonne, and that's a lot of content for your money. Obviously, this is all very, very story-driven. There's not, this engrossing amount of gameplay or anything like that. But Walking Dead Season 1 is a game that I think a lot of people hold near and dear to their heart. I mean, if you cry at Walking Dead Season 1, I'm not gonna judge you at all. That game was emotional as all hell. Season 2 was really good as well. People have their opinions on Season 3 and 4, but I thought it was all a pretty solid experience. But especially Season 1. Season 1 stood out to me, and you get to go through all of them, so $30 for all this content, I think, is a slam dunk good deal, so definitely check that out. Next up, No Man's Sky is 50% off, down to $29.99, a game that when it released back in 2016, I think you guys are completely aware of the fact that it was a train wreck. It was far from what was initially promised, but Hello Games has stayed committed to No Man's Sky, and a ton of additional content has been released, with the most recent update, Expeditions, adding a significant amount of content as well. Now, I haven't played No Man's Sky since like a few updates ago, probably like a year or so ago, but even at that point, I would say that the game was worth it, and I've only heard that the game has gotten better. So at this point, $29.99, it's a good deal, and if you have a VR headset, oh, it is tremendous, and it does have a PlayStation 5 upgrade on there as well. So you're getting a great, you're getting a great experience for your money, and you're getting a lot of content. Some people will say that it kind of tapers out around the 30-hour, 40-hour mark, and I can definitely see why. When I played it back then, yeah, 30 to 40 hours, it got a little redundant, but I still thought it was a compelling enough experience. And when you buy into No Man's Sky, you can pretty much rest assured that this is going to be a game that, every year it's going to be worthwhile to go back into, because Hello Games is going to be updating it and adding new content, so that's definitely something to take into consideration. $30, I think, is a pretty solid deal. Alright, next up, one of my favorite games of 2020, Doom Eternal. The standard edition is 60% off for $24. Doom Eternal is the follow-up to Doom 2016, which I already thought was a great first-person shooter. Doom Eternal is a much better first-person shooter. It is what a first-person shooter should really go for. It makes you feel like a powerful player, while at the same time having that element of challenge, and I think finding that balance is really difficult to do, but Doom Eternal really hit that well, and if you want a quality single-player campaign, you're absolutely going to find that in Doom Eternal. There is some DLC that's been released as well, but $24 for the base game, I think, is pretty good, and if you're a fan of first-person shooters, you're going to be really, really into it. Really going into this for the single-player campaign, so bear that in mind. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. Next up, another JRPG. Want to give a shout to Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. This is a great JRPG. I mean, all the Ys games are pretty good. This one starts off a little bit slow. Chapters 1 and 2 are a little bit slow, but then it really starts to pick up, and the action combat is always great. You know you're going to get that. And $19.79, that's 67% off. I think this is a great deal for a JRPG that, Ys hasn't really reach that next level in terms of notoriety as far as JRPG goes. It's comfortably a tier below, the Personas of the world, the Final Fantasies of the world, but I definitely think it deserves a lot more attention. Ys 9 is great as well, but Lacrimosa of Dana is a very, very well-made JRPG. Visuals aren't anything to write home about. Bear in mind, this originally released on the PlayStation Vita as well. But overall, you're getting a very sound JRPG for $19.79. Great music, solid cast of characters. Hummel's a great character. He's pretty hilarious at times as well. And again, south of $20, I think, is a pretty good pickup. Okay, next up, this is kind of, one of the deals I want to throw in just from a personal standpoint. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 Road to Boruto is $14.99. That is 70% off. I'm a big fan of the Naruto Storm games. If you're a fan of Naruto, you'll really enjoy it. And even if, you're a fan of Naruto, and then you invite your friends over, and maybe they're not as big into Naruto, it's a very, very good game to invite friends over and get into a fighting game. It's not one that takes a lot of technical nuances to get down, and you don't have to spend a lot of time to get good at it, although, there is a level of skill to it, but it's pretty pick up and play, and also it has a pretty solid single-player campaign. On top of that, you get the Boruto DLC. $14.99, I thought this is a pretty good arcade fighter to recommend. Okay, next up, Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, 60% off for $24. Mind you, I played this on PC. The PlayStation 4 version I played a little bit of, but the transition is pretty solid. This is a game that a lot of people consider to be, one of, if not the best RPG of all time, and I don't consider it that highly, but I have said before, I am in the minority in that standpoint, so honestly, my standpoint on this game is that it's a very, very good RPG. Everybody else thinks it's one of the best top 3 RPGs of all time. Take that opinion, because that seems to be the general consensus. Again, I still really enjoyed the game, and by the way, if you do play this game with a couple of buddies, even better, you're gonna really enjoy it, and $24 for it, I think, is pretty good. And again, a solid transition to the PlayStation 4 as well, so good job. And Larian Studios has been doing some really, really great work, becoming one of the breakout studios and one of the top studios in the industry right now. Okay, next up, this deal is ridiculous. Dreams is 35% off for $13. When Dreams came out, it was already at $39.99, then it got an MSRP slash to $19.99, and now it's 35% off for $13, and I think it's, what, only a year old? It's not that old at all, just a little over a year old, so this is a great deal. Obviously done by Media Molecule, so there is a focus on the creation elements, but you don't have to do any creation. You can just explore everybody else's creations, and yeah, you could just, like, have a beer, have a good time with the game, and spend a lot of time in Dreams just surfing through the offerings that the game has. And again, $13, and you know Media Molecule, there's another game that they're going to be committed to. They're going to update it constantly, and they've talked about, you know, having a 5-10 year plan for the game, so you're getting your money's worth out of this one for sure. Next up, Resident Evil 2 is 60% off for $16. Resident Evil 2 is excellent. Resident Evil 3, a lot of people were disappointed by that game because it didn't match the quality of RE2, and I can see why. RE2 is a remake of Resident Evil 2, however, it does that remake truly while also bringing it up to, when did it come out, 2019 standards. It holds up really well in 2021 as well. You've got 2 different playthroughs to go through, and overall, just a very, very well-crafted third-person action survival horror title, so $16 for that, I think, is a great deal. Also, another Capcom title, Devil May Cry 5 is 20% off for $19.99. Now, yes, DMC5 did see the special edition on PlayStation 5, and that version does run quite a bit better. DMC5 already ran really, really well on the PlayStation 4, though. Yes, you don't get the ray tracing and all that, but it still runs really well, and fundamentally, it's an excellent action title. I mean, this is one of the best action titles that released last generation. If you want to make an argument, it is the best. You know, that's a completely valid argument to be made. Even if you're not super into the Devil May Cry story, you can just get into the great action gameplay, the great visuals, the great music. The music is awesome. Nero's theme is excellent. And $19.99 for this, I think, is a really solid pickup. A game that, you know, doesn't overstay its welcome either. It gets in, gets out, gives you a great experience, and I think that's a solid recommendation. Next up, we have Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. It is 75% off for $14.99. If I am accurate, I believe this is a new low for the game. It was typically going for like $19.79, but $15 for it is really good. Really unfortunate how underrated Ace Combat 7 is. If you just want to get into a game that's all action, great music, great visuals. Yes, there's a story there, but a great action flight title. Ace Combat 7 will have you covered, man. You're gonna have a great time with this game. Just look up some of the music in this game, look up the OST, and then you'll probably be more inclined to pick this game up because it is excellent, and again, a great, great action flight title, especially at just $15, such a good pickup. Alright, next up we have Bloodborne Complete Edition Bundle for $15.04. Now this I'm really inclined to recommend because it not only includes the base Bloodborne game, but also the Old Hunters DLC, which a lot of the times when Bloodborne does go on sale, it's just the base game, and that's always a little bit of a bummer. Bloodborne, obviously a tremendous, tremendous game. I'm not even a big fan of the Souls games. Like, I'll appreciate them, and I've played all of them, but I'm not as high on them as some other people playing them multiple times, you know, figuring out the fastest runs, everything like that. I'll play them once, have a good time, and Bloodborne was the game to me that was the first true PlayStation 4 system selling exclusive, and I had a great time with it. Loved the settings, visuals were great. The only thing that would make this game better was if we saw a PlayStation 5 upgrade that could up the frame rate. I know there's like a workaround on PlayStation 4 or whatever to get it running at 60 FPS. Probably not something a lot of people can go through, but man, a PS5 upgrade would be tremendous, and it would sell really, really well. I think sooner rather than later we're gonna see it just because the demand is absolutely there, but for now, $15.04 for the complete edition I do think is a good buy. Lastly, we have Tetris Effect 50% off for $19.99. Man, on one hand, you might just think it's Tetris, but on the other hand, it's Tetris with damn good particle effects, with damn good music. I mean, just listen to the theme song of this game, and I feel like you'll be inclined to pick up Tetris Effect right there. It is a really, really well-made game, and even if you think it's just Tetris, hey, Tetris is one of the most iconic games in all of gaming history, and it's just made completely engrossing with Tetris Effect, with excellent music, great visuals, and that great Tetris gameplay you know and love. And $19.99 I think is a good pickup on this as well. So that's gonna wrap up this one. Again, we went over 15 deals, but Yakuza Like a Dragon, Need for Speed Heat, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is on sale, even though that's not like my favorite game in the world, DBZ Kakarot, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, We can go on and on. God of War is on sale. Ghost Runner, Hitman 2, Hitman 3 is on sale, I believe. So there's a ton of stuff on sale as a part of this sale. One of the best sales that Sony has had in quite a while, in my opinion. So definitely check it out. I'll leave links to all of these deals in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.